Dante is the legendary devil hunter who has overcome countless trials since his debut in 2001. And ever since the release of Virgil in Devil May Cry 5, you could pit yourself against this force of nature to see just how you stack up. There's one problem though. You could only fight him while playing as Virgil. But recently, I've been getting a ton of requests to pit the rest of the cast against this boss. So today, that's exactly what we're doing. I'm going to answer the question you all have had. Can Nero, V, and Dante beat Dante? The co-op/divergence mod has a few cool options, one of which lets you do exactly what our goal here is. Change the mission 19 and 20 Virgil fight into Dante. And from there, all I had to do was select my champion. Also, I'm doing this on Dante Must Die for the most authentic experience, of course. I decided to start out with my boy Nero, so we're gonna do both fights with him, then move on to V, and finally, we'll pit Dante against Dante. Right off the bat, Dante isn't pulling punches, or actually he is, and that's even scarier because he's quickly shutting down attempt after attempt. To properly analyze these fights, first I need to explain what makes him so difficult and different from Virgil. For one, Dante has 13,000 HP compared to Virgil's 10,000. That's 30% more health than his blue brother. On top of being tankier, he's harder to combo. When you juggle him, he bounces up really fast and falls even faster. Like, what is this, DMC4? Seriously though, it's a pain trying to catch him once he starts to fall even a little bit. If that weren't enough, you can just lose your combo if you hesitate or use the wrong move. I often tried closing the distance with Streak, but the recovery was long enough that Dante would teleport away before I could even manage another hit on him. Even pausing for combo D was a big enough gap for Dante to trickster his way out of it. Basically what I'm saying is my combos ended up feeling extremely samey as I whittled his health down, because anytime I tried to go off script, he would break my combo and go back to doing Dante things. On the topic of Big D's actual openings, similar to Virgil, he's vulnerable after he finishes a combo, but his combos are far more frequent and varied. He also does not care about a single thing you do while he's doing his long-winded, flashy attacks. You could hit him with a freight train and he would say, "Okay, cool, but it's still my turn right now." You can parry a lot of his attacks to stop him early, but the clash animation also lasted long enough for Dante to escape, so there was genuinely no point in doing that. Buster grabs and snatches are something that I know a lot of you have been wondering about, and unfortunately they just don't work. If you try to buster him, the grab phases right through. Snatching him, on the other hand, is quite funny because he has no defense against it, but he does instantly teleport away once he gets pulled to you. There is one more type of grab, and this one can get him. Rawhide's Breakage will ensnare the nearest foe and swing them around like a ragdoll, and it works on Dante. If that looked weird to you, allow me to go into photo mode and explain. Dante was obviously never built to fight Nero, so they never gave him an animation for being thrown around by Rawhide. As a result, he gets put into his default A pose for the entire duration of the attack. In the first fight, when he gets lower on health, he can start entering Devil Trigger while performing certain combos. In contrast to his brother, D to the Ante doesn't heal from being in DT, and he generally leaves the form as soon as he finishes his attacks. I would have loved to be much more aggressive than I was, but thanks to the way the boss operates, I really had to just bide my time and play his game. That being said, Charge Shot definitely put in some work during his super long animations. Alright, so what happens once Nero beats up Dante? Well, obviously Dante takes a knee, Nero stares at him for 30 seconds, and then the game crashes. Mission 20's version of Dante turns the fight up to 11. He starts using the destructive Kalina Ans, Cerberus, the king of coverage, and of course, Sin Devil Trigger, his ultimate trump card. He gets knocked back after taking fewer hits than in his previous fight, so that meant we had to have more interactions. In an effort to capitalize as quickly as possible, I found out that this lightning move from Cerberus has insane lingering hitbox syndrome, which is a disease that some things can get when they're bad. For his SDT transformation, much like anything else he does, you really don't want to challenge him. he will win. I thought his melee attacks in that form would be easy to dodge, but they caught me a lot more than I expected. Generally, he loved using the loose most of the time though, which provided me with a huge benefit. He sends out tons of small homing fireball things, and if you get a table hopper, Nero's perfect dodge, you can indefinitely chain them until Devilman Dante decides he's done. Getting a dodge with table hopper gives Nero a lot of devil trigger, and all of these small projectiles compounded that gain to the point that I was guaranteed to end the exchange with full meter. So there you have it. Nero deals with Dante via charge shot, roulette spin, and table hopper. Now, we need to find out how a much less competent character tackles this beast. V was interesting. Dante has absolutely no interest in Shadow or Griffin. He will never try targeting them, and he will exclusively be aggroed onto the Twink for the entire fight. The one and only exception to this is when Dante enters Royal Guard stance. He'll slow walk towards you, and if something tries to strike him during this time, he absorbs the damage and sends it straight back to its source. This was the only way he was ever able to send the pets to ball prison, but it happened more often than I would have liked. However, this royal retaliation was also his downfall. When Nightmare is on the field, none of the pets can be damaged, so when Dante would attempt to redirect an attack, it would actually do nothing and he'd end up getting comboed instead. When Nightmare wasn't out, I mostly spent my time dodging with Shadow to gain DT and letting Griffin do chip damage until we got the main event back out. And if you were hoping V had a unique finisher for Dante, unfortunately he doesn't. It's just the generic stab and twirl, which coincidentally is the name of my favorite sex move. In the next fight, it really hit me how much more aggressive Dante becomes, and I had the realization that my health was not going to hold up in this long, deadly encounter. Summoning Nightmare doesn't provide V with any healing, and nobody was about to drop green orbs for my bum ass. I lost half of my HP barely a quarter of the way through the battle, and by the time Etnad got to half, I had a measly 3 bars left to my name. But anyone who's been around the channel long enough will know that that's when I really lock in, when I'm one hit from demise. People call it Lucid Clutch, or Lucid Luck, or whatever you want to call it. The point is, my health never got even a smidge lower, and I wiped the floor with Dante. His barrage of missiles and the previously mentioned Luce both gave me tons of DT thanks to V's infinite iframe dodge, so I stayed safe until Big Bro showed up, and the rest is history. Speaking of history, our next challenger has a lot of it because it's Dante himself. Much like in Nero's case, combos felt very limited, though I'm sure someone much better than me could style on Boss Dante like it was nothing. But combos were far from my biggest issue, cause I was struggling with the process known as living. And I think Dante's difficulty fighting himself is a complex metaphor for how I'm bad at the video game. After some practice, I learned a few Royal Guard timings, which wasn't too hard considering he did everything I could do, so it's not like the attacks were unfamiliar to me. Once I got to triple S rank, I used Sin Devil Trigger's Quad S feature to snap in and out of the transformation in order to dish out massive damage to the red-coated imposter. There was this weird fascination I started having with mimicking the boss's attack patterns. Like, he would teleport up and do Rainstorm, so I would counter by teleporting above him and doing a rainstorm of my own. It was oddly amusing. Oh, and if you didn't believe me when I said absolutely nothing would stop Dante from attacking, just look at this. I dragged his ass across the arena with Sin Stinger, and all the while he was still damaging me. In the second fight, where Nero and V built their DT through dodging the Luce, I used Royal Guard to block it instead. My DT shot up, and so did my style rank, though getting chipped while rapidly pressing the guard button was pretty likely. So was the SDT really worth it? Of course it was, I just needed to press the button better. I also had to be mindful about when I chose to exit the form because I could leave it only to be immediately assaulted, losing my triple S rank. It was truly a mirror match. When he entered SDT to use Judgment, his most powerful finisher, I met him in kind, dishing out my own Judgment before he could finish his. He tanked through my hits, so I did too. And if he was gonna end my run while I was in SDT, then I would do the same to him. And there you have it. Both variants of Dante fought with all 3 characters that normally never get the chance to. Now, there is one other feature I neglected to mention. With this mod, you can choose the secret 3rd option of fighting Dante and Virgil at the same time. So here's my proposal to you. If you're on PC and interested in trying out the co-op mod, give this duo fight a try and let me know how your attempts go. Other than that, I hope this was insightful and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Sayonara.